is richer than moringa. Yes, next slide. Yes, I just said the elements that are required in a high quantity and those that are required in small quantity. The one that has the highest is the potassium K, and this one it is involved in balancing and the electrochemical in the body and cell membranes. It's good to synthesize a protein is present. Next slide. Yes, iron too that is needed is also present in a good quantity here. And if you look at the function of iron, there it says it's a good component of cation, catalyze hemoglobin, that is for production of blood, either red or blue. Then it's also essential for vitamin B that we have been looking for. It's also present in this purple. Next slide. Yes, let me round up. He said, if you look at this slide, I talk a little bit about the uncommon element, the rubidium, that it decreases the chance of getting diabetic, and that one is found in the flour of male. So the flour of male is very, very good. How you use it is either you can dry it and powder it and put it whatever you want to eat it, or soak it in the water, wherever you want to use it. But soda is very good. Not only that one, it regulates a lot of things in our body. It also helps in the regulation and absorption of iron in the human body. It helps in depression. A lot of people that normally have depression, if you are eating that, the male flour is very, very good. And I try to look at, just like my friend I was saying, that there are some, you don't not salute the vegetables that are very close to that one. When the staff quarter where I reside, and I know we have a lot of this purple there, that's the one I use. I remember all the elements present there, they are within the NAFDAC recommended value, because there is a NAFDAC recommended value. So because for the sake of time that I did not put in this slide, I tried to put them one after the other. They are within the NAFDAC recommended value. Let me now conclude. Yes, next slide. Well, no, you have jumped. The conclusion is there. I discovered the conclusion is that the element of this Carica papaya, our purple, it contains, I want to read my conclusion the way I put it. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I've seen it here. It said Carica papaya is found to consist of several trace and major elements. Those that you need in small quantity, they are there in small quantity. Those that you need in high quantity, they are there in high quantity, of importance to our human health. Products from this plant can therefore serve as health supplement, especially in adults. So it's good for the children too, but most especially for the adults. Before you use it for the children, you need to look for the size you are going to use. The presence of the harmful elements, there are harmful elements like lead, vanadium. They are completely absent from the two locations. They are not there. It's just for the sake of time. I even went to Boko in Benue State. I brought the sample, but we are yet to do the analysis of this one. I just want to see how it flows. So the presence of rubidium, another metal in the male flour, so that the male product have high medicinal value, and it should not be neglected. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor, for that wonderful presentation. So we'll take the next presentation from on chemical composition, nutritional values, and antibacterial activities of watermelon seeds. Who is presenting, please? Madam, you are welcome. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Ogume Olayinka from Abuad University, Afebabalola University, Ekiti State. I'm presenting on the chemical composition, nutritional values, and antibacterial activities of watermelon seeds, which is called Citrullus lanatus botanically. by way of introduction, many plants have been shown to possess antimicrobial properties that are active against microorganisms in vitro, and watermelon has been found to be one of them. In this study, I'm trying to use watermelon seeds to look at the chemical composition of watermelon seeds, the phytochemical analysis, nutritional values, and the antimicrobial activities. Because we have realized that many antibiotics, many microorganisms have developed resistance to antibiotics, so many antibiotics, that we need to go to basis, we need to go to the natural products, just like the last presenter said something about carica papaya, that is pawpaw. So we need to go back, and that's what is ongoing now. Many researches nowadays is on plants, because we have found out that many of these natural products, they have lesser side effects, unlike the synthetic drugs. Next slide. Next slide, please. So it has been suggested on the basis of chloroplast DNA investigations that the cultivated and wild watermelon diverge independently. They have discovered that there is a species of watermelon that is called Citrullus colocynthis, that is the wild type of Citrullus lanatus, which is watermelon, our common watermelon that we know, that is native to us. And watermelon that is called Citrullus lanatus is by Yoruba people call it Egusi Bara, and it belongs to the family Cucurbitaceae. So it has been suggested on the basis of chloroplast DNA investigation that the cultivated and the wild type, which is called Citrullus lanatus, and the other type, colocynthis, they arise from the same ancestor. That is, they originated from the same ancestor. And that watermelon seeds are available during the summer period, summer season. Then it has been also found that from the seed kernels of Citrullus vulgaris, is very rich in, even though it has not been reported in some other ones, but it's very rich in oil. 52.6% oil is found there, and is a good source of energy too. Is a good source of energy. You know, we have different species of Citrullus, but we are focusing on Citrullus lanatus, that is the watermelon. Now, the parts being investigated really is they are the seeds. So the sample was collected by buying from watermelon sellers, and it was cut into slices, and the seeds were air dried for about 30 days. And after that, it was blended, and after blending, it was soaked with methanol in a conical flask. Then, after that, it was placed at room temperature for 3 days. That is 72 hours soaking, percolation. So, and after the soaking, then it was filtrated, and the filtrate was evaporated on water bath using 45 degrees Celsius. Then the materials and metal continue. We are trying to look at the proximate analysis, which include the moisture content, the ash, the protein, crude fiber, crude fat, and they were carried out using standard methods. Also, antimicrobial studies was done by collection of sputum bacteria, microorganisms, bacteria isolates from sputum and from ear, and patients with periodontal disease. Then they were cultured on nutrient agar, which is a Sigma Aldrich product. Then they were preserved in the laboratory in Afe Babalola University. There are so many species of the bacteria species that were used, that included Escherichia coli, Staphylococcus aureus, Proteus mirabilis, Bacillus cereus, and so other ones that were listed there. Next slide, please. So the antibacterial susceptibility test was performed using the agar-well diffusion technique and using Moella intin agar. That was the product that was used where the bacteria species were cultured. Next slide. So the test was performed under sterile condition, and they were inoculated on that Moella intin agar using the culturing them on the Melanense agar. The agar was carefully punched using a core borer of about 5 millimeter in diameter, and the extra were dispensed into the wells of the agar seeded with bacterial isolates at different concentrations. There were different concentrations used. 3 different concentrations: 300 milligram per mil, 200, and 100 milligram per mil. And there was a control used, DMSO4, dimethyl sulfoxide was used as a control, dimethyl sulfoxide. So, from the result, the proximate, please, next slide. Okay, table 1, that's proximate composition of watermelon seeds. It was found out that it was very rich in carbohydrates. We can see that it's having like 59%. Then it's also very rich, like the name implies, watermelon is very, the composition of the content of water there is very, very much. That's about 9.45. Then it's also rich in protein. Crude fiber is also there. And it's having very little fat. The fat content is very, very, that's why it's very good for people that are obese. It's usually recommended as a kind of fruit that people that are obese can be taking, because it's very, very little. The quantity of the fat there is very, very little. Then from the qualitative and the quantitative phytochemical analysis of watermelon seeds. Next slide, sir. Table 2, okay. Alkaloids, phenols, tannins, saponins, and flavonoids were found in the watermelon seeds and the quantities were also analyzed. It was very rich in, at least moderately present. Alkaloids were moderately present, while phenols, tannins, and saponins, flavonoids were present. Because when it's having 1 plus, it's just present. When it's having 2 pluses, they are moderately present. And there could be 3 pluses, sometimes 4 pluses. That means they were in excess. So alkaloids is a very major phytochemical that is very, very good. It's a stimulant. And phenol too is something that can be used as an antioxidant, which we know is used, to combat anything that is contrary to our body. So we have the tannins too, that is a major phytochemical that is good as antimicrobial agents. Then the saponins too, then flavonoids and phenols, they go hand in hand because they are good as antioxidants. Saponins also help in lowering cholesterol in the body. Then next slide. Then we have the vitamin composition in watermelon. We have different kinds of vitamins that was analyzed, varying from vitamins B1 to B12. Vitamin B1, B2, B3, B6, and B12 were found present in watermelon seeds to show you how rich the seeds of watermelon is nutritionally. Then the antibacterial effect of the methanol extract of watermelon seeds. So many of these, about 13 of these bacterial species were tested using different concentrations, as I said, 300 milligram per mil, 200 milligram per mil, and 100 milligram per mil with the control. The control did not have any effects. You can see 0, 0 all through. Did not have any effect on all these bacterial species. It didn't have any effect on all these bacterial species, but different concentrations of watermelon seeds extract were having various effects on the bacterial species. So we can see from this discussion, from the result, it showed that watermelon seed contains so many phytochemicals like alkaloids and the rest that are very good even to our body, to our health. And that the role of these phytochemicals as antimicrobial, they have been reported by some other researchers. Then the presence in watermelon can show us the reason why it is useful nutritionally. Then the presence of saponins in this our study, some other authors is contradictory in a way. So further research will have to be done on that to really be sure of what is really happening. So indiscriminate use of antimicrobial, conclusion now, the last slide, the second to the last slide. So indiscriminate use of antimicrobial drugs. Just anytime we have any infection, we think it's an infection, we tend to use antibiotics, and that has led to so many resistance in the use of antibiotics. So many microorganisms have developed resistance to it. So the indiscriminate use of antimicrobial drugs has created very dangerous drug resistance to microbial strains. So many bacterial strains have developed resistance against antibiotics, like penicillin resistant Streptococcus pneumoniae, methicillin resistant Staphylococcus aureus. And previous records also show that new families of synthetic antimicrobial agents, they will have short life expectancy if we continue to abuse the use of antibiotics. So researchers are advised, we are advised to turn our attention to plant products. Like I initially said, we are advised to turn our attention to plant products because they are natural products and they have lesser side effects. And you know, it is God's it is God that has endowed these plants with this curative power. So I will conclude by saying researchers should investigate further on the production of watermelon. Like I was happy somebody said she was producing, planting watermelon in maybe a piece of land or something like that the other time. So we should investigate further on the production of watermelon in our country and the benefits that are obtained from the products. They have to be analyzed deeply to encourage the pharmaceutical industries, because this can be a source of a patent product that can come from watermelon seeds by the pharmaceutical industries and investors, local investors. Then it's also important that more species of pathogenic bacteria should be tested in order to ascertain the spectra of activities of the antimicrobial substances present in watermelon seeds. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, madam. God bless you. Yeah, I think those are the presentations that we have for this group. The fourth one is not, the person is not around. I think we need to, let me quickly go through what has been presented. I think Mr. Oketayo made presentation on the heavy metals in vegetable at a dump site very close to the Ado Ekiti Teaching Hospital. And he came up with a lot of results that shows that being a dump site is prone to a lot of pollutants, of which heavy metals are major there. And that shows that we have to be very careful because we are what we eat. And that's why I said our environment is our life. So whatever we give to the environment is what we are getting to get from the environment. So we need to be very careful. The outcome of this presentation is that maybe we need to sensitize our farmers, even during the dry season that we have a lot of problem with vegetable. People will still go around that place, particularly if its water is available around that dump site, and start plucking the vegetable. And there is bioaccumulation of all this heavy metal in our system, in our organs. Is a lot of problem, medical issue. Then Dr. Aboyishade also presented on elemental constituent of Carica papaya, that is our pawpaw. He dealt with issues that has to do with analysis of the major parts, the leaves, the flower, and compared the male and female pawpaw. And he's also highlighted the importance in terms of some of the nutritional values and the health benefit of pawpaw in terms of as a cleansing substance for our organs like the kidney, and also prevent food poisoning and infection. And that the papain that is present is good for worm expeller. It can expel worm, and so naturally you just see that you are not having worm, because nowadays from what we consume, even you eat in the eatery, the food, the meat is not well cooked, and that's area where you can get eggs of worms of different sort. And so by the time you take all this natural food, you are naturally, indirectly eliminating those worms from your system. I mentioned the issue of high concentration of potassium. Potassium is a very essential element in the human body, and that balances a lot of metabolic action in the body. And it's also looking at the issue of the flower of the male plant, that you know, and people will not try to discard it. We need to really look and get the health benefit and nutritional benefit of the male pawpaw, particularly the flower. that contain a special a substance, like he said, rubidium, that is also good. Then he also went further to compare moringa, because everybody is starting moringa. Even up to now, people are still shouting moringa. So we need to go into other plants that are having equal health benefits and nutritional value, like moringa. In terms of even mentioned the issue of iron, which is very essential for hemoglobin, and you know hemoglobin carries the oxygen in our body, and so it's a very good thing. And he has been able to come up with that there's little or no heavy metal in all the analysis done. Then we go on to Madam Mrs. Olayinka from Abuad. She worked on the antimicrobial activities of composition of watermelon seeds. She really did a lot of work, and she was able to come up with the word that because of these microorganisms that are now developing resistance to conventional drugs, think of all these drugs, all these common drugs that we have, that we even think they are powerful, that microorganisms are also really developing resistance to them. So we need to look into the natural products that can really tackle this problem and have lesser side effects. So he studied varieties of watermelon, and he was able to come out that the seed has a lot of antioxidant property, antibacterial property, and contains a lot of carbohydrate and water and crude fiber and even protein. And all the vitamin B series are there in good quantity. And so she's recommending that, number one, apart from going to further studies on this, the quality of this watermelon seed and what can become benefited from it, we should be able to tap into the antimicrobial property and antioxidant property of the watermelon seed, so that it will reduce the side effect of taking all these conventional drugs. So we have come to the end of this presentation. We want questions, comments, and answer. But before I give the microphone to the house, my friend, Mr. Okitayo, where is he? Yes, you are complaining the limits of heavy metals, okay? And you are referring to WHO and FEPA. FEPA, as of today, has been replaced with NESRIA. So all what FEPA is defunct. So you have to get NESRIA regulations and relate it to whatever any research work you are doing, at least to be up to date with present day reality. So that is just my own comment. So I want to throw the floor open for comments and questions for the presenters, so that we can come up with some other some recommendations. You are welcome, madam. I will form part of the outcome of the conference. You are welcome, madam.
Good evening, everybody. I want to thank all the presenters. My question more on Mrs. Ojo, J.O. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. My questions are more, what I would have loved to say to Brother Ipe has been said by our moderator. All these researches, I think they should go beyond the chefs and laboratories, at least way out to let all the people that are concerned to make them know. Now, more Karika Papaya, sir. I wish you could give us, at least for the benefit of us that are here now, we are hearing, we can still do more of Agumu and Eguje for us, telling us the processing, how we can, I know you mentioned, maybe because of time, how we can do the processing to get the benefit. Because in my house now, you see my husband, he will go for work in the morning. By the time he's coming back, you will see him with mango leaves, see him with guava leaves, at times with cassia leaves to boil and drink. So if you know more of this, so that to go beyond your academic laboratory to our laboratory in the homes. Also to our sister with the watermelon seeds. Thank you.
Yes, any other person? So what Madam was saying, that from the gown to the town. Doctor?
I want to thank the three of you for your presentations. Of course, they are eye-openers to the potentials that exist in our various domains. Now, my question is to you, sir. You mentioned there's a differential in the quality of rubidium in Carica papaya behind the quarters and then in your community. I'm wondering why. What are the likely reasons? You might not be able to answer now, sir. I'm just thinking aloud that what might likely be the reasons why in some geographical regions in Nigeria you have high concentration of those important elements, and then in another region there will be maybe a significant difference in the concentration. And then the second question goes to both of you. Now, if I decide to be consuming papaya every day and watermelon every day, at what point will I be exposed to overdose? Because this is a gap that I have identified in many of our local concoctions. At what time? Because when you pick a medical prescription or drug, they will tell you use 2-3 times daily, maybe for 5 days. Now, at what time will I stop using Carica papaya and watermelon? After I have consumed them for a number of days. Thank you, sir. Amma.
Thank you, doctor. So, issue of dosage, but what I just believe, we take everything in moderation. Everything has to be in moderation. Any other question? Okay. Madam.
I believe because these are fruits, they are naturally endowed and they are from God that has endowed them with these things. So when we hit them, they don't do us harm. But, everything we have to, at least we cannot, if you are eating rice, you can't eat rice every time of the day. Or even if you eat it throughout today, you can't eat it throughout tomorrow, you feel bored. So I believe because they are fruits, they are natural to us and they don't have side effects.
Yes, my brother.
Thank you, sir. I want to appreciate the presenters, especially the last presenter whom I was opportune to meet her presentation. And my question then will be directed to her. I'm Dr. Awiruku from Department of Biochemistry. So the question I want to ask is kind of contribution, Dr. Awiruku is academic, is not going to town, and is tilted towards the write-up of a manuscript based on what you presented. From the conclusions, you emphasize or you affirm that work has been done on watermelon seed, those phytochemicals that you analyze. So perhaps in your write-up of an article from the work, you should be able to prove beyond that level the contribution to knowledge arising from your research. So I will still want you to tell us the special contribution to knowledge arising from your research, saying that the phytochemicals have already been analyzed. Thank you, ma'am.
Maybe you got me wrong. I didn't say it as me. I said they were, when you do a work, you must reference your work. Past work that has been done on some of those things. So in the course of referencing, maybe that was what you met me saying, that some researchers too, even though there are some contradictory, like saponins, some people said they didn't get saponin in their own. Meanwhile, we got a trace. At least there was a trace of saponin in our own. So like somebody that what you asked him, okay, somebody said, how come that the composition in one, it's very, when I was doing my PhD, I collected some samples at a particular season of the year. The phytochemicals I got, I wanted to be sure whether I will still get the same phytochemical. They vary because of the weather conditions and some other factors, climate and some other factors that can contribute. So it happens. So that's why we have to ascertain. When I got, what opened my eyes to that was I got a particular sample early that year. Then I got another sample because I was collecting, working on phytochemicals and some other things, anti-diabetic studies and things like that, antimicrobial studies. Then I now got another sample later in the year, and I found out that one particular anthraquinones, to be precise, was present at a particular season of the year, but wasn't present another time. To be sure, another year, I now went back to collect. That same season, it's the same thing happened. So normally, weather conditions affect, and the geographical locations too.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, weather affects, but the composition of the minerals is varies from one soil to another. It's also location dependent. Like our own, we collected everything at the same time. I know the one we took from my hometown, it was when I got there, I took it. But when we got there, the man that's supposed to operate the equipment was not around. It was after a month later, I need to throw away that one because the two must be together before we can do any meaningful comparison. Well, as for the reason, I know it's very, even the same thing with Moringa. I did that of Moringa in Akure and Moringa in Ilefe. I discover they are not all the same. There are some high concentrations in some place, and they also vary from one element to another. Like the one I said, there are some elements that are higher in the one in Ilefe than the one in my hometown. They are also weather dependent and then location dependent. Mommy Joshua, Mrs. Joshua, as per the preparation, well, it depends on which one you want to do. If it is either leaf or whatever, you dry it. But it's better you dry at the room temperature. Spread it will dry. The one that is difficult to dry is the seed of pawpaw and pawpaw itself. So is that one, if you spread it, omajera. So is that if it is during the dry season, you can spread it outside for the sun. The sun will dry it. So under the conclusion, I just mentioned that of rubidium because it's an uncommon element that you can find in a plant, and it's present only in the female flower, in the male flower. And I know many of us, we neglect that male. So, and as for the proportion, we need to be very, very careful for everything. When it comes about all this, our local food and every other thing, the flower and the fruits, it varies from one person to another. If we discover that what will work for A may not work for B, but you need to watch yourself. Like myself now, if I want to send everybody away, if we sit down and I want to send everybody away, those who are sit very close to me, I know what to eat. If just give me 3 minutes. You get it now. And then there are some people, if they eat a bottle, it will do them nothing. And that's why because somebody said, if you can watch what you eat and your reaction to it, your problem will be minimum. I know my elder brother, we just discover until to go to stop every those products. So I'm just saying you need to watch it, everything, but it's not what when we are talking about the fruit has a lot of calcium. You can eat that one anyhow. The leaf, so even to buy the first slight, so the salad again, a small quantity the Emma slice in it. But this thing, they are very, very rich. I don't like it. I prefer our own natural thing, and then we should get used to it. Well, you are a good rapporteur. I think you really mastered everything very, very well. Well done, sir.
Thank you, sir. God bless you, sir. Thank you, Doctor. All the presenters, you have been wonderful. And members of this group, we really appreciate you all. I think we will come to the end of this program.
Whether it is the ripe one or no. We say it ti go mature one, but you take one. So they are the one you slide. You know, some people, they even use it as vegetable. Tomati kaba yen wa de be, wa de slice e sínú bí ẹ̀fọ́. Làwọn kan fi ṣe ẹ̀fọ́ tí wọ́n fi ń jẹ, wọ́n fi jẹ. So they is the kò tí pọ́n, but ó ti gbó.
Thank you for that information. So I think we give glory to the Almighty God for this wonderful program. So we'll continue tomorrow by God's grace with other presentations and to be followed by other plenary sessions tomorrow by God's grace. So on this note, I want to appreciate everybody present and wish you a wonderful night rest. God bless you all.